Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube, and this is kind of a follow-up video on a conspiracy that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. I posted this video right here, We Need to Talk About the Creepy Clown Conspiracy, about a year ago, August 2nd, 2015. It's interesting how this stuff works because now, 1 year later, over the last few months, these creepy clowns are showing up once again. Here's a recent map that shows some of the sightings that have been taking place, in this case in North Carolina. So you can see it started on the 21st of August, and this one goes up to the 5th of September. So you can see there have already been multiple sightings of these creepy clowns, right, wandering around in the woods, and even calling out to children. I'll show you some of that here as well. So now you can see there's been multiple sightings of these creepy clowns out in the woods here in North Carolina, in different cities as well. What's even more creepy is what they're actually up to. And as you can see here, this was posted on September 1st, so it's not just North Carolina, it also extends into South Carolina this time around. Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina, multiple law enforcement agencies are investigating a rash of incidents involving clown sightings at apartment complexes and other areas of Greenville and Spartanburg, South Carolina. Captain Art Littlejohn with the Spartanburg Police Department said officers were called to Cannon Point Apartments Wednesday night, August 31st, for reports of a suspicious person. The complainant, a woman, told officers that a person dressed as a clown was standing in her backyard. Deputies in Greenville County said the clowns were initially seen in wooded areas where they reportedly tried to encourage children to join them, and then the situation escalated to reports that the clowns were actually knocking on people's doors at their homes late at night. Residents at Fleetwood Manor Apartments shared a strange letter they had found on their apartment doors that left all of them very concerned for the safety of their neighborhood. The letters, which were reportedly posted at the apartment complex on Fleetwood Drive, stated that the property management had received complaints of a person or persons dressed as clowns trying to literally lure children into the woods by offering them sweets and treats. And this one here is just from a few days ago, September 5th, 2016. Clown tries to lure kids in Winston-Salem. 2 clown sightings reported. Fun fact, I myself lived in Winston-Salem for 4 years. There's a film school there, and that's actually where I went to college. Fairly small town. I mean, they have a downtown district with buildings and whatnot, but it's not huge. Fairly small town. So I could see where news like this, with someone dressed up like a clown and creeping on kids, would spread really fast. Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Winston-Salem police say someone in a clown costume tried to lure kids into the woods Sunday night. The, quote, clown was described as wearing white overalls, white gloves, red shoes, with red bushy hair, a white face, and a red nose. And the suspect allegedly tried to lure the kids with treats. The suspect was reportedly seen by 2 children and heard but not seen by 1 adult. The suspect fled the area when officers arrived. A second clown sighting happened just after midnight in the 1600 block of Hope Lane, which is only 2 miles away from the very first sighting. Officers attempted to locate the subject but were unsuccessful. And even more creepy, both of these spots where these clowns were reported trying to get children are located in very residential areas that would seem safe otherwise. And of course there's always naysayers and people that just look for the easiest answer, right? So people would be like, well, this is all just in one state, so it's just a group of people and they're pulling some kind of a prank. But that's not the case, because here's another one that propped up in Green Bay, and this is from August 3rd, 2016. Or they'll say something like this, scary clown sightings increase, is this just a viral stunt for it? So what's interesting to know is that these sightings, these random sightings of these creepy clowns, have been taking place all around the world since 2013, and they are increasing. But since it started several years ago, I certainly don't think this is some kind of a viral stunt for a movie. However, we do cover synchronicities here on this channel, and I think it's very interesting how this stuff oftentimes plays out. It'll play out in the real, and then we'll see this stuff playing out also in media, in movies and TV shows and whatnot. So Stephen King wrote a really scary book many years ago called It, about this space creature that comes down to the Earth, and he goes after children, but he goes after the children in the form of a clown, a really creepy clown. So now that these sightings are increasing, and of course keeping in mind it's been taking place for several years now, but now that they're increasing, you'll have stories like this. Oh, it's probably just a viral stunt for It, right? So now here's another story, and this is from September 6th, 2016, just a few days ago. Third clown sighting in Piedmont Triad, this time in Guilford County. Guilford County, North Carolina, Greensboro police on Tuesday morning received a call about another clown sighting in the Piedmont Triad. The sighting occurred at the park at Oak Ridge Apartments off Old Oak Ridge Road, not far from Interstate 73, where a man said he saw a clown near the wooded area behind the complex at about 10 a.m. Now this is the part of the story that I think really matters most. Chris Bass told Fox 8 he lives at the complex with his wife and 2 children. He was on his balcony when he spotted a man in a white mask, red curly hair, yellow dotted shirt, blue clown pants, and clown shoes in the wooded area. Bass tried to chase the clown, but could not catch him. He called his actions his fatherly instinct. The reason I think that's interesting, even in the video I posted up about the clowns, you'd have people saying, oh, it's just someone playing a prank and just trying to get attention. That's really dumb. I'll tell you, that's really dumb. Especially out here in North Carolina and places like that, South Carolina specifically. These are the kind of places where a lot of people own guns. So for anybody to think that it'd be funny to just throw on a clown suit and get out there in the woods and just try to spook some people, and that there would be no problems or no issues, I would say they are definitely not thinking clearly. Can you imagine out there in the country, some guy or some gal pounding down some Budweisers, look out the window and they see some creep dressed up like a clown goofing around out in the woods, grab that revolver, and the chase is on. So again, this is why I never bought the story, and you'll see it in comment sections from time to time. Ah, it's just a bunch of kids just having a little fun. Ain't trying to hurt nobody. Again, this has been happening for years, and it's increasing, and it's all around the world. So there's something I say quite a bit here on the channel, and I still stand by it because I see the proof of it all the time. In all the years I've been talking about this stuff, that the veil is lifting. I really believe that paranormal, even supernatural events are becoming more commonplace over the last several years. So when I see these stories about the clowns, again, I'm not just seeing, it's something about a movie, or it's a couple guys trying to spook some people or whatever. Regardless of what the individual story is, for each one of the individuals that put on these clown suits and are doing whatever it is they're trying to do, right? Knocking on people's doors, maybe just causing a little chaos here and there, reaching out to the children, trying to get the kids, no matter what it is, no matter what their personal story is, I see all of this stuff as spiritual manifestation. Speaking of synchronicities, even within the last year or so, there's been this super creepy movie come out called Clown. It's essentially about a man that gets possessed by a clown suit and eventually evolves into a demon. And even more interesting in this particular movie, I thought, is they go into the history of clowns and the connection to demons, and their unquenchable desire for the flesh and blood of children. And there are other angles that I see to this whole thing with the imprinting of the evil clown. In its own right, it really is a form of psychological operation. We find this kind of imprinting all over the place in our media, of course. And on a grander scale, I just feel that this beast system, as it exists, this worldly beast system, even America's own beast system, is constantly imprinting us with different ideas. For example, why does everything have to be bad now, right? Everything's bad. It's bad dad. It's the inversion. It's the inverted world we're in. It's the as above, so below paradigm. It's the as above, so below paradigm that's being revealed all around us now. It's the inverted world. What was once good is now bad, and what was once bad is now good. Now it's bad grandpa, right? Bad grandpa. I mean, they went for the grandparents, man. Seriously, like, nothing is sacred anymore. Nothing. Even looking back now, I only have nothing but fond memories of my grandparents and how incredibly sweet and genuine they were. Many of you have these memories as well. But not in today's world. Today everything is bad. So we got bad grandpa. So now we have bad Santa. And then of course we have the most ridiculous one of them all in my opinion, and that's bad moms. Hey, let's be bad moms, right? You know, screw the kids, right? Screw being a decent role model for our children. Let's just be selfish and party and do what we want to. Let's be bad moms. Just a total retardation of everything. It's a total retardation of our society. No real role models, no one good to look up to, no one decent to look up to, no somewhat moral role models left. Everything's bad. We have to flip it all upside down. Bad moms. And talk about imprinting. And you talk about imprinting or social engineering or psychological operation. There's 2 television shows coming out over the next month which are essentially the same show, one with a lead character that's female, the other one with a lead character that's male. This one right here is American Housewife, where of course the lead is the female. But if you haven't seen these commercials for this show, the basic overall message is that this is a fat slob of a mom, and she's also kind of dumb. She's completely and totally opposed to exercise or eating right, anything like that, and you'll see that in these commercials. She's completely sold out to being fat. That's what the whole show's about. Like a big fat housewife that doesn't care about health, even tries to get in the way of her own children eating healthy. And of course she mocks and ridicules exercise or trying to, quote, live right. Because this is how the beast system wants you. They want you big, dumb, and fat. And even in these commercials, it's all about just eating, eating, and eating, and eating. And not being healthy, and making fun of healthy people, and making fun of healthy lifestyles, making fun of healthy life choices. And just being fat, and being stupid. And again, you see these commercials, he's just a big, fat, dumb dude, right? It's the mirror of the American Housewife show. It's just, now you got a guy. Now you got a guy in the role. This is for the men. So this is how they want you. This is how the beast system wants you. It wants you fat, dumb. That's what they want. Fat and dumb. In Diabetes Care Journal by a global consortium led by researchers at Nova Southeastern University's College of Optometry. Meanwhile, you got stories like this coming out. Diabetes has become one of the top causes of vision loss around the world. The number of U.S. kids with type 1 diabetes increased by nearly 60%. And researchers don't know why. I'm not sure what kind of researchers they have there, but I'd say take a look at the GMO first. Take a look at the food, all the fast food, all the sugar and everything. But you go back to the media, and what do they want? They want you fat, and they want you dumb. All right? You're easier to control that way. And then you have stories like this. Again, these are more real-life stories about real-life issues. Nearly 60% of Americans, the highest ever, are taking prescription drugs. Nearly 3 in 5 American adults take prescription drugs, up markedly since 2000 because of much higher use of almost every type of medication, including antidepressants and treatments for high cholesterol and diabetes. In a study that was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, researchers found that the prevalence of prescription drug use among people 20 and older had risen to 59% in 2012 from 51% just a dozen years earlier. During the same period, the percentage of people taking 5 or more prescription drugs nearly doubled to 15% from 8%. Really important at the bottom there, one likely factor driving the increased use, obesity. And here's the media, the mainstream media, putting out this garbage right here for you. Once again, let's keep those Americans fat and dumb. Let's keep them fat and dumb. Fat and dumb. On another level, these TV shows are literally promoting the 7 deadly sins, or some of the 7 deadly sins. Sloth, and of course, gluttony. I want to give you another example of what I believe is more of a spiritual manifestation. You may have heard this story gross black slime or black goo creeps over Washington, D.C.'s most famous monuments, and no one knows how to get rid of it. The subject of the black goo, in my opinion, is one of the most fascinating subjects out there, because when you start thinking of conspiracies or conspiracy theories, you immediately jump to the classics, right? Most people do. JFK, Roswell, 9/11, stuff like this. Many of these conspiracies, I believe, can be tied back into what a lot of times we refer to as the Illuminati, or really the shadow controllers, right? Because there's multiple bricks in that pyramid for sure. But the reason the black goo is so fascinating is because this is relatively new as far as so-called conspiracy theories go. This is the subject that's just really been explored pretty hardcore just over the last few years. There's a lot of different angles on what it could actually be. A lot of people think it's programmable matter. And once people really started researching this subject, you could look back through all forms of media, movies, television, and find multiple examples of predictive programming that was showing us this black goo. Another one of the ways the black goo shows up quite a bit is in the form of a possession. People get possessed by this black goo. Oftentimes they'll say it's alien. The black goo is alien. But then there's just as many cases of them using the black goo to show demonic possession. Once again, in multiple movies and television shows. So that's what I think when I start hearing stories about our national monuments. Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, their statues, they were, quote, slimed, right? Black goo is appearing on these guys in D.C. The mysterious black goo has been steadily oozing over Washington, D.C.'s most famous monuments, in fact. The Jefferson Memorial's white marble dome is slowly turning gray, they say, from the icky substance. As with everything, the mainstream has to give this some kind of a term that makes it a little more relatable. So they're calling this a biofilm. But it's interesting that this so-called biofilm, or black goo, is not slowing down. It's creeping over the Arlington National Cemetery, Washington Monument, and even the tombstones at the Congressional Cemetery. I just had to share this one because I've covered this subject a few times in other videos as well, but one of the most fascinating examples of the black goo, as far as I'm concerned, that I've seen in a film was in the movie Prometheus, where it's literally showing you truth of these alien visitors, or otherwise known as fallen angels, interbreeding with humanity, mixing their black goo blood with ours. And there's even more recent examples of the black goo in media, in this case in a new movie, fairly new movie, just came out over the last few weeks, called I Am Not a Serial Killer. So even in this film, once again, the bad guy in this movie, the killer in this movie, uses a black goo to kill his victims. Sometimes he just leaves a black goo behind after attacking his victims. But once again, that black goo is there. And not to get too spoilery, but there's even the connection there with demonic activity in this black goo. And just to refresh your memory a little bit, you had this guy right here, this creepy clown from October 2015 in Jacksonville, Florida. And this was a separate incident in what seems to be a different clown, also in Jacksonville, Florida. And in case you missed some of the other creepy clown cases that have been popping up over the last few years, I'll just give you a quick refresher of a few. Creepy clowns pop up in Jacksonville, Florida. This is from October 2014, and there were several different incidents. And again, remember what we're saying about the dates. This is from October 2014, right around that time, there were multiple towns all through California, which is a huge state, but all through California, multiple sightings of these strange, creepy clowns. Mystery clowns that are terrorizing California towns at night have started carrying guns. So the creepy clown conspiracy doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. These sightings are still increasing over the last several years, all over the world. It's my belief that as we're living in this time where everything's being revealed, both good and bad, that this creepy clown conspiracy, these people coming out as clowns, is just another manifestation of a growing darkness in this world. It's the same as the so-called black goo attacking all of Washington's monuments. Another example, a physical representation of the spiritual growing darkness all around this world. And of course, being on Washington monuments, that's pretty much a given, right? We can see the darkness growing through the American government. We can see the darkness that's actually growing in the American government, physically manifesting itself through black goo. So I'll certainly be keeping my eyes open for more of these creepy clown conspiracy stories. Many of you have been so kind to send me these stories, so I really appreciate it. Once again, I have the greatest subs ever, because this isn't just my show here. It's all of us together working this stuff out and trying to figure out what's really going on, right? So I thank all of you for your wonderful shares and comments. Until next time, take care, guys, and I'll talk to you real soon. Enforcement agencies are investigating a rash of incidents involving clown sightings at apartment complexes and other areas of Greenville and Spartanburg, South Carolina. Captain Art Littlejohn with the Spartanburg Police Department said officers were called to Cannon Point Apartments Wednesday night, August 31st, for reports of a suspicious person. The complainant, a woman, told officers that a person dressed as a clown was standing in her backyard. Deputies and children. I'll show you some of that here as well. So now you can see there's been multiple sightings of these creepy clowns out in the woods here in North Carolina, in different cities as well. What's even more creepy is what they're actually up to. And as you can see here, this was posted on September 1st, so it's not just North Carolina, it also extends into South Carolina this time around. Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina, multiple law enforcement. Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube, and this is kind of a follow-up video on a conspiracy that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. I posted this video right here, We Need to Talk About the Creepy Clown Conspiracy, about a year ago, August 2nd, 2015. It's interesting how this stuff works, because now, 1 year later, over the last few months, these creepy clowns are showing up once again. Here's a recent map that shows some of the sightings that have been taking place, in this case in North Carolina. So you can see it started on the 21st of August, and this one goes up to the 5th of September. So you can see there have already been multiple sightings of these creepy clowns, right, wandering around in the woods. And even calling out that in Greenville County said the clowns were initially seen in wooded areas where they reportedly tried to encourage children to join them. And then the situation escalated to reports that the clowns were actually knocking on people's doors at their homes late at night. Residents